Yeah. So, Mapla, in yesterday's lecture, there were some doubts. Students were asking that the body, when we say it is about left hand and right hand, and eating and shitting is what I was saying. I mean, the Indians all unify that. So that is one, and so the doubt was this is the same culture which is spread across the Asiatic people, like even in Arab also it is spread, and also this Asian, Japanese, and Chinese. Most of them people do the same. But you can also reject that argument. But still, there is a point of this question that is this an exclusive for how does one say this is an exclusive for Indians? See, that is what I was saying. India was having a uniqueness about the shitting habit, and that shitting habit was about the space where they built the toilets. See, the toilets was always away from the outside the house, and or there were no toilets. So then there was this peculiar character of toilet, and the spatial, like the temple architectures did not have toilets. So now people can say that whether this is the case with the other cultures, like Christianity. I was giving example that Christian there were toilets, but that was namesake, but that was not that was ritual toilet. Ritual toilet, what I mean is for the sake of building toilets, that was there. Then now you can ask about the masjids and Muslims, how did they appropriate this one? See, in Muslims' houses, I don't know how many of you have, even in the old houses of Muslims, they used to build toilets outside the house, not inside the house. And also now if you go to Muslims' houses, there is a praying place separately, which was not an exclusive architecture of the Muslims. But this exclusive place of praying is an exclusive architecture of the Hindus. In every house of Hindus, you will have this back door also. Back door for the toilet. So toilet will have new houses which are built without space. They will have independent houses. They have two doors. One is for the toilet. One is the door which you enter through the house. Another door is the back door. They go for dead and some ritualistic purpose. They say that is a bad omen. Therefore, they have to cleanse their body. So they come with the back door. So this is the case with this is the case with any Indian movies also you would find. Tamil movies I come from, you'll find that old movies, they'll be having toilets outside. He'll go for dead and he'll remove all the clothes and put in the bathroom and wash and come. So that is to mean that entire body and the clothes, everything has to be cleansed. So therefore the concept of toilet was becoming, was very crucial, and the temple and that's what purity and pollution. So these two were very important. So I was arguing that there was a body for this, and there was another body for this, and these bodies have a space, and this body also had a space. So there is this two things which we need to understand is this purity pollution ideology, whether it is a one single concept or a concept, whether this is a one concept of each individual or a concept of this particular polluted people and this particular purity people. See, the concept here, what I am trying to argue is the concept is purity pollution is a concept which every one of us Indians have. That's the concept I am trying to argue. So purity pollution, for example, which space is good, which space is not good, is a concept every one of us agree to it. For example, toilet is considered as a inhuman, polluted object, and that should not be in a space of praying. This is on a layman's term when I say, but you will say that no, in masjid we do have toilets. But I mean to say that even in the Muslims' houses, even now actually you find there was a poet in Kerala, a Muslim poet. He used to say that in some masjid where there is a urinal smell, Bashir used to talk about when there is a urinal smell, then you understand there is a toilet there. So in the sense, even the Muslims have adopted that kind of a not keeping cleanliness of the toilets. And I live in a space where I come from. I don't want to mention that name. In that masjid, till recently, there were only chakliyars were going and cleaning their toilets in Muslim masjids. So there was another thing is when you go for Sabrimala temple, I used to go. In my childhood, I went there for 6 years. So in recent time, when I went to Sabrimala, on the way to Sabrimala, not the temple, but on the way. Just to recall my memories, when I went, I saw many masjids have reduced the number of toilets, shitting place, and the urinal has become more in number. So it means that it is not about, you go to the earlier masjids. Earlier masjids always had n number of toilet and n number of urinal, or they will have n number of squatting toilets. So now the way they're reducing urinals and increasing the number of urinals and reducing the number of shitting habit is actually coming from the idea of purity pollution is my argument. So that is where they appropriate the mainstream idea of purity pollution. Now you can say, yeah, see, you can argue that since there is no enough space, but this is being built like this. Now, but that is fine. But that was not the case with the earlier masjids. Even now, you find with new masjids, they do not even give a thought about such toilets. When I went to one masjid, the toilet was kept locked actually. It was not the urinals. So therefore, the concept of purity pollution is also appropriated into the concept of purity pollution into this concept of Muslims also. So therefore, from this perspective, I would say that this comes from the idea of polluted people are considered as SCs in India, and this you can say non-SCs, purity, non-SCs. So here, yesterday somebody was telling me the one incident, and there was also another incident in Tamil Nadu recently. A Muslim man went and abused a Chaklier woman, saying that you are a Chaklier woman, your duty is to segregate the waste. So the concept of Muslims understanding purity pollution is also absorbed from the mainstream understanding of purity pollution. It is not the concept of their what is taught in the religious textual thing. So therefore, when you go for North India, when Muslims, when somebody new people embrace Islam, or even the old people who are there in Muslims, they do consider as an untouchables, and they do treat them as they are called the Pasmanda Muslims. And even there was a discussion in Kerala about Osmans and other Barber community in Kerala, Wasan, and then there was a Barber community, and then there was this Fisher community also. They talk about the discrimination. So the discrimination may not be caste discrimination, but still the way they treat them comes from this understanding of purity pollution ideology. That's what I say. So this is very unique to India. So now when I say this body space and body space, see, this body and space have two dimensions. One is this body of purity of non-SCs. They also have idea of purity pollution. The polluted people also have an idea of purity pollution. So what is the idea of purity pollution they have is, there is certain body which is permanently pure, pure, and there are certain body which are permanently impure. Okay, and then what the Indian does is, in the Indian culture, Hindu culture, but now it is no more a Hindu culture, it is a popular culture. In popular culture, this space of Dalits, they have separate space and they have separate space. For an example, a colony. You can call colonies Dalit colonies, and then you can have, majorly the space would be colonies actually, and village structure and colonies like that you can say for them. And for them, they would say that any other structure is called for them as a pure structure. That is outside the colony, you can say. So now the demarcation of these outsiders and the insiders, outsiders, that is outsiders, I'm talking about the outside the colony, or you can say OCs, you can say, let us keep like that for understanding. And this is SCs. So the demarcation between them is, this SCs should not interact with this category of OCs. For example, OCs are living in a village, SCs are living in a village. The SC's duty would be only to access whatever the main bazaar would be here, main bazaar. So they have to access this, or sometimes if they need to interact with this area, then they would be met with the violence. So the body and the space become so crucial that they are not, or they would be restricted not to access this one. So for example, there was another space also like burial ground. So in burial ground also you would find that SCs in a separate buried, and the OCs would be separately buried. The space would be demarcated. And then you will have the temple space also, that they won't be allowed inside, and there will be some certain people would be allowed inside the temple. So therefore the body and the space will always have a relation. So what is, in short, what is the caste system is? Caste system is not a hierarchical as we see. As Ambedkar said, that caste system is a notional idea of purity and pollution, or you can say outcast and the outcast and the touchables, or untouchables and the touchables, you can say. And the concept of touchable and untouchable purity pollution is a concept which is there on our mind. It is not in physical object as such. So the physical object is only to understand what is happening on the ground, but this physical object is not an exclusive way to evaluate the caste system. But everything happens in the mind. For an example, this physical body is to understand how it emerged. But in recent time, this is not the emergence. For an example, you walk in a bus, Now I as a Dalit, I go in a bus, and then the Brahmins also said earlier it was not possible, but now it is possible. So many of the anthropologists and sociologists would say that the caste system is changing. You see, in cities there is no caste. See, actually caste has another very important factor, which is not the case with the race. So caste is important factor is, see, caste is not about, I said it is a notion category, it is not a physical category. You should understand. Physical category and notional category are very different. Notional category, where does this notional category come and where does the physical category come? Wherever there is only physical category, in that physical category you do not have notional category. For notion means idea of thinking about he is Dalit, he is non-Dalit, I am a Brahmin, I am not a Brahmin. So this is very unique to caste system. This is another unique, and this is where caste and race are different, because race is applied on the physical body. When you meet somebody, you understand he is a black, or he is a brown, or he is a white. So racism is something which is ingrained on the body, visible on nature. But caste is not visible on nature. It is a notional idea. So it is notional idea. How it is notional is, for example, when I meet you, and that has a meaning when I enter into a space. For example, they will ask me where you come from, and I will say that I come from a village, and they'll ask me which village, they'll ask, and they'll try to fix my body to that village. Or if I say I'm a Brahmin, then okay, they'll understand me with the temple and the priest and the holy, that purity idea. So when I say that I come from there, then they would fix me there. Then there will be another idea there when they ask you what kind of a labor you do. There are many markers which they would ask. So the other markers only through other references, that is notional idea, they would fix me in on my body. But race is not that. Race, they no need to ask which country you're from. You're a black, and you're visible on nature. So therefore, it is a physical, when caste is a physical object, caste is not a physically apparent on face value. So therefore, on a bus when I travel, nobody is bothered. And also when, for example, if I want to rent a house,
current caste is not a physical, but earlier days it was physical. And
earlier it was earlier it was very physical. They were not allowed in a bus. So therefore, people say that when they are allowed in a bus, it does not mean that caste is eradicated or caste is changing. Actually, caste has been there since then also. So since then, for an example, Ambedkar studied law college, and since he was identified as a Dalit, he was thrown out of it. But there was a chances he could also eradicate his name. He could change his name. For an example, in recent times, you find that what will happen is earlier days, there was a coconut shell. They would give water in a coconut shell for Dalits. So now people would say that it's changing because of the glass tumblers and everything is changing. But actually now they give use and throw tumblers. So use and throw tumbler is again, they don't use it again. They will ask Dalits. There are in many villages in Tamil Nadu, they give use and throw tumblers when a Dalit is trying to drink tea. So he'll drink and he'll throw it. It's similar to the shell, but it is reproduced in a different form. But that does not mean that caste is evaded. Similarly, when you travel in a train, for example, now many people have, like Dalits who have got mobilized, they would travel in at least sleeper class. So it is not that they are there and they are identified as an SCs, and many people in Nayars are identifying as OCs. No, everybody goes there and everybody hides their caste. Nobody's identity is revealed, because caste is a category which always, there is a category of physical was never given importance, the idea was given more importance. So physically earlier it was there, but does not mean, but earlier studies which fail to understand, yes, caste is not only a physical category, caste is an exclusive and notional category. So that is where this is not physical category. Therefore, when I travel in a bus, when I sit in a cinema hall, earlier in cinema halls, Dalits were not allowed to sit on a bench. So now they are allowed to sit. That does not mean caste is eradicated, but I am hiding it. So now I wear a good dress. Earlier Dalits were not allowed to wear a good dress. But now I have money. But that time there were no money also. They were not given money. But now there are many options. It is not that suddenly the caste Hindus came and said that, oh, Dalits, you all wear good clothes. They never said that, okay, now you all earn money. No, they never said. There was a government opportunity in industrialization. So many changes were happening. And in that change, many people got educated. And now they themselves wear the cloth. But interestingly, whether I identify caste as a Dalit to the in public, whether I identify my caste in public every time, that is not the case. That cannot happen. It will never happen.
But when you even identify your caste, you can sit in a theater, you can wear a proper dress. It is not. Preventing nowadays.
Yeah,
So what's the
that comes with the law.
possibility?
No, that comes with the law. For an example, you go to a village structure. In cities, it is not a problem because cities there is a civil rights activism 1940, 1956 and 1990s. The rules are very different. The rules means SC/ST atrocity acts will apply. There are many people conscious about that. So there is a, in case if you say that in India right now, if somebody says I'm a Dalit, it is an assertion. It comes when there was only controversial fights. Otherwise, there is nobody is going to. In other case, let us put this way: in Maharashtra, for example, Dalits would assertly will put Ambedkar's statue everywhere, Ambedkar's picture in everywhere. That is an assertion of they come and mobilize and they say this is what we are. It is not to say that we are this. That is an assertion to say to reproduce to take back their self-respect. But that is not the case with Tamil Nadu, for example. Yeah, nobody will wear Ambedkar's teachers 24/7 or even everyday normal practice. Ambedkar's t-shirt would be popular only when Ambedkar's Jayanti would come, and blue color shirt, for example. So the identifying Ambedkar for Dalits always would be only with political Dalits, not with everyone, or some shop is there keeping Ambedkar shop or keeping Ambedkar photo in a Dalit shop. They will think that if I keep that Ambedkar shop, nobody is going to come and buy tea from us. And if I keep some caste, for example, in Tamil Nadu, there are many shops which is a Brahmin's name, and Iyengar bakeries are there. You cannot keep a chocolate bakery. If you keep chocolate bakery, nobody is going to come. Maybe even chocolates won't come and drink tea. So therefore, the point there is, it is not about you can keep or you cannot keep. But the point here is you can hide your identity. That is very important to understand and caste. That, for example, if I want to rent a house in a Caste Hindu village, in Caste Hindu apartment, so I can say, I can go and tell them that I'm a vegetarian, I can say. They will ask me what, veg or non-veg, everything they'll ask, then they'll ask my caste. I can say, since I come from a different, I come from a Chakliar background, I speak Telugu, then I'll associate myself with the Telugu speaking upper caste. Then I can easily say I'm there I identify with them and I say I come from that caste. So therefore they won't have a problem. But what is the issue with that? Another example also I'll give you. This is Dalit Murasu journal was there. This Dalit Murasu journal, it was a monthly, weekly it was, monthly I think. It was monthly journal. And it was there for 1990s onwards. It was very popular journal. So they fought a case and they got some 1,500 government jobs for SCs, backlog post in High Court. And they won the case and they spent the money and they won the case. After winning the case, they sent this journal to all those people's address to the offices. They said, please don't send. And the office, some people house also. Everybody called them and said, please don't send this magazine to my house. And house people also said, don't send this office or to the house. And that guy, those guys who said, they explained, my wife doesn't know I'm a Dalit. And then office people said that, see, in my office, nobody knows I'm this particular community. So therefore, don't send this to my office. So therefore, there is an option of Dalits hiding their identity. And actually, I would say that apart from the visually we witness what Dalits movement and Dalit protests are happening, in practical, 90 or 75% of Dalits live hiding. They don't come out openly, and that is uniqueness of caste. That's what I'm trying to say. Therefore, with caste, that's what Dalits, what they do is they try to navigate using these all options to escape casteism. So that caste is not a problem. That is why caste never become a serious problem. It becomes a problem only there is a violence. So most of the discussions in India right now, you find only about caste violences would be discussed. So therefore, the peculiarity of caste is that it is one is ingrained into this purity pollution ideology and the notion of escaping that identity. Since it is a notional idea, it's an ideology. Caste is an ideology, it is not a physical object per se. Have any doubt on that part?
So they are hiding themselves.
Yeah, they can hide. They can hide. Most of the time they can hide. For example, another question is, it is when you are sitting in a bus. There were many experiences, I could say. When you are sitting in a common bus, I won't talk about the atrocities what happened for the Dalit community openly. Oh, Nayars hit Dalits, we won't speak. That doesn't happen every time. So it becomes a very private affair. Private affair where we discuss is not in public spaces. We discuss political people, political parties might discuss, and then we'll discuss somewhere private where our crowd is there. The crowd of Dalits are sitting there. There we would discuss. So the assertiveness is not there for caste Caste is not assertiveness, unlike for the outside this in Punjab, in Delhi, you find that many people asserting their caste. All would be, who would be there? They would be writing, right? Gujars. They'll write Gujar, and they'll write all their caste arrogance, or I would say caste, their caste names on their vehicle. But Chamars, sometimes they might write in their area, but main cities and all, I don't think anybody can. Valmiki is writing Valmiki. It will be very unique. It cannot be considered as a normal. But Gujar is not the same, or Brahmins are not the same. Even in abroad also they would do that. And there was Gujars and there were other things, right? Jats. Jats. So they can assert their identity. There was recently a Facebook photo of a Jat woman saying that I am a Jat woman, and there was a lot of backlash she was receiving. That they were saying that because suddenly after that there was some violence. So they were bringing this violence and saying that your asserting as Jat is a problem for this because Jats are also doing the same thing on the ground, what is happening. So therefore, caste is something very unique. One is, it is an ideology or based on ideology of purity pollution, and that is exposed on the ground. Second thing is, caste, since it's an ideology, the physical is not a permanent category. Physical can be gone to be into different directions. That I can change my, I can hide my identity. Yeah, pause it. The uniqueness of India, I was arguing, the relation between the body and the space. But what is that body is, for example, it is a notional idea. Okay, notional idea exposed on the physical object. Okay, when it is a spatial and the body has a pure relation, it is about how we use the eating and the shitting habit of India and where we shit. The space of shitting. So this is the body and the space is what very crucial. You in caste system, this have a very close relationship. You cannot deviate from that. So when you talk about the left and right, it is about a physical object of your physical body. But where do you shit is a uniqueness of this India. The space and the body. Okay. Didn't get it, huh? How does it match with the right hand? No, body. In India, body is a very crucial factor. Because Brahmins are born, right? Caste is, signifies in body. Dalits have a separate body. Non-Dalits have a separate body. So body is very central to caste. But that body has a meaning only when there is a space. For an example, Dalit's body realizes Dalit's body should not enter into certain spaces. Upper caste should enter into certain spaces. There are any spaces they can enter, but certain spaces are reserved for them that they can enter. So therefore, the body and the space are something very unique to India. But this body, how do you see is the uniqueness of India is body and space. But what is uniqueness to India more than this body and space? To understand this concept of body and space is the toilet, your shitting habit and the eating habit, the way you shit actually. It is not that you, in every culture, that's why I was talking about the space of a toilet where in the architecture is situated. Like in the temple, there are no toilets. Shitting, you are not shitting in the temple. You are not shitting in your house. You are shitting outside the house.
So the significance is there is not left and right, but the space and body.
No, body per se and where you shit. No, the concept of eating and shitting is a very crucial in India. It is not shitting, the space of shitting. But why it is crucial is, for example, in India, you have this, in popular culture, you have all the slurs would be based on your body. Like I'll spit on you. And in Tamil, for example, Echakkalanaye, they would say. All the vulgar slurs word would be considering the waste what you release from your body. That itself considered as a slurs in Indian culture. So body is very central to it. The purity pollution of the body is very central to it. Another thing is, for example, in Hindu culture, when you say that left hand and the right hand and the left foot and the right foot are considered as a permanent category. That this should be used for this. For example, when you say that right hand is used only for eating, but in Indian culture that is not the case. We go with each other. Eating is not, we eat with both hands also sometimes. We eat with the both hands. For example, we eat like this also, we also take water from this hand, which you do often. So the concept of not about eating and shitting alone, the concept of left and right in Indian concept is about purity and pollution.
So this practice is actually both sides actually practices, right? The touchables and untouchables does this.
Yeah. Yeah, that is what joins us, all of us.
Okay.
Let me put this way. See, why this body? For example, if there is no shit, eating and shitting, okay, at least shitting habit, and then there is no space connection. Without shitting, there is no spatial connection. And to understand this spatial connection, I am taking you to the root of toilet and the temple. Here is a purity and here is a polluted. So this, even if you forget about the eating, but the shitting habit of Indians is very peculiar, that you shit in a place where you are not allowed, where you restrict your space where to shit. It is not that all spaces you can build a toilet and shit, which can happen in any other country, because for them it was convenience purpose. But our spaces, whenever we build toilet, we consider which is away from the purity space, so-called purity space. There is a concept of purity and pollution in India. The purity space is a space where temple and other spaces and schools and other places are there, a place of worship. And there are many other things. In public also they won't have toilets, many toilets. So toilet is considered as not like a convenience purposes in India. So this space becomes very important only because of the function of the body where you shit. Okay. Let me give another example. So your confusion is, how is this idea, what is your confusion in this?
I mean, I'm trying to grasp everything you said.
Okay, I'll put this another way. So temple structure is built here, right? Outside, temple is out away, toilet is outside. So now in Brahmin houses, as I said, again here, toilet was outside. Okay, now this is the working structure. It's a working space. But the same structure is replicated in a Dalit's house. Dalits also build toilet outside the house. So they also think and justify toilet is an. When they justify that spatial structure, they also justify that I am Dalit because I am doing this work.
Sorry.
I am a Dalit because I do this lowly work. I'm a toilet cleaner because I clean toilet. I am untouchable because I clean toilet. So they justify this even when they also don't give importance to toilet as it should be part of the house. I would call this as the Brahmanism actually, or Sanskritization, I would say.
So they are embodying the Brahmin ethic of
Yeah.
toilet from houses.
Yeah, everyone in India, and that is unique. Like Muslims are reducing the number of toilets, which I was giving an example. Muslims earlier houses did not have toilets inside the house, and they have outside the house. So there are many other things also about the toilet habit of Muslims here and toilet habit Muslims across the world.
Isn't the toilet an impure space? I'm trying to say that the city is impure and the toilet is impure. The problem lies when the impurity transcends and it became a tribute to a group of people, or impurity transcends to other places and it becomes permanent.
No, actually, if you see in Islam, when you do wudu, it is said that it is a sin that you have to release your bowel. Without releasing that bowel, it becomes a sin. So you have to release the bowel because there is something bad in your body that has to be released. And then you have to do wudu because a bad thing has been released. You have to see that in not in a scientific term, what I would say, you have to see that what does it say is, it says that after eating, you have to cleanse your body. It is not about that eating and shitting is a very grave thing you did in Islam, where something you read about surah, right? Something when you enter into a toilet, you have to read that something is there. When you go and shit, there is something to read. And that reading, what it says is you are doing this unclean work. It's just to not to show a permanent work. Everybody shits and you can shit. That is not the problem. And if that was the case of what you say, masjid would have not considered toilets within the masjid premises. It should have constructed somewhere else.
But the toilet is impure, I say, because
Then why do you having it in a masjid?
It is not a problem to have
Then
toilet as a body. It's impure. We can't pray inside toilet.
no, you cannot shit in masjid.
Yeah.
Same.
So there is places.
No, but both the spaces do not demarcate where it should be. In masjid, it has a premise. Within the premise, you have that. Within the premise itself, you have this toilet, right?
But that doesn't make the toilet clean.
It doesn't make your praying place also impure, right? So,
And another point.
so it is just an architecture of it for its purposes, right?
Is
That's it. But what you have done is the way you reduce the toilet, the way you did not build in house toilets, you did not build in houses. Rather, you built outside the house. Why did you build? Outside the masjid, there is no toilet. Every masjid, and if you go to earlier masjid, at least in Hyderabad, the masjid which I saw, and you go to this, there is a famous place, Mapla, Dargah. In that Dargah, the distance between the toilet and the Dargah would not be even 10 feet. Even if you fart, the smell would go there to the people who are praying. But they kept the toilet there.
I'm saying in earlier days you said the toilet was not inside the house, right? Isn't that a problem of technology? I'm trying to say that today we can accommodate the space of toilet inside the house.
You're talking Muslims or generally?
Generally. Also, you said the houses of Muslim. My house or in my father's and grandparents' say they go outside.
Yeah, you should go outside. Open defecation.
Go outside to shitting and pee.
Okay. You know you forget about that. You know this Yemeni house which is there somewhere. Yemeni, the first Yemeni who entered into Kerala. No, there was some famous. His house is there somewhere, and you go in his house. Entrance you can pee and go. There'll be a Mambarandangal. Mambarandangal house is there. Right? In his entrance there'll be a space to pee. Entrance. You have to cross that and go. So that was not considered as a holy or unholy structure. It was a space for convenience. But we never inhabited that, Indians, including the Muslims. We consider that as an impure structure. It should not be in the house. It has to be outside the house. Because you again made house as a pure structure, holy structure.